He said there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. And it probably won't be airing next year, a new season. I haven't been told that, but that's what's in the wind. And they are pulling not just one episode, but others. Now the evidence is showing. And they're doing something unprecedented. And I've got internal documents on this that obviously the sources have given us and asked that we not show because it'll tell you people exactly who it is. Not with True TV. This is inside local cable companies getting the orders to erase all of the episodes off DVRs remotely. So this is just unprecedented censorship that's going on. And I don't like the fact that Congressman Cohen is running around doing this unchallenged. The word I got is the ADL was putting pressure on AOL. Cohen was, Homeland Security, and others. And Homeland Security is rolling out on the streets of America. In fact, I'll show this to you on screen when we come back from break. Homeland Security orders Americans around in the parking lot. And this is just a photo sent to us by a listener. I'd like to get an article written on this and tie it into the Viper teams and the Homeland Security teams and the 9,000 locations getting telescreens telling you to watch other shoppers and your neighbors with Homeland Security messages. But now it says, for your safety, please no parking, U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And this is at a Stu Leonard Supermarket in Yonkers, New York. It says, from a reader, I thought you'd like to see the attached picture. It was taken by a friend of mine in the parking lot of a Stu Leonard Supermarket in Yonkers, New York. I guess the DHS can tell us where and where not to park. The sign was placed near the propane tanks. And again, the message is terrorists are everywhere. They may try to blow up propane tanks. So now you have this federal jurisdiction, this extrajudicial zoning, where they go into parking lots at grocery stores in front of gas stations, and they're just Homeland Security signs. Oh, sorry, can't use these parking spaces now. You know, you pull up to 7-Eleven, or you pull up to Home Depot, or you pull up, and there's the propane tanks, Rhino, propane, whatever the case may be. I bought a lot of it to barbecue. You know, it's all locked up in cages. Well, now, see, oh, you can't be trusted to even park there. Al-Qaeda may drive a truck up there and blow it up.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
A very wealthy U.S. citizen is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica, the number 3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com.
Alex told you the government announced recently that the recession is over. It ended on June of 2009. The millions of Americans unable to find work might not agree. Perhaps the recession ended for the bankers and government employees, but for the rest of us, things seem to be getting worse. Gold and silver haven't heard the news either. They've begun their long-expected journey to the moon. In addition to converting your shrinking dollars into gold and silver, you should consider a food savings account from eFoods Direct. They both make fabulous investments. Food is our greatest dependency, and we know it will be more precious than any financial resource. You and your family need food to survive a crisis, and you can't eat paper, stocks, or metals. Alex has been urging you to invest in delicious, easy-fix meals to enjoy now or save for long-term. This will freeze the cost of your food while you can still afford it. Visit eFoodsDirect.com on the internet or call 800-409-5633. That's eFoodsDirect.com or 800-409-5633.
Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
I have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today, seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at PrisonPlanet.tv.
Okay, again, we have these photos linked up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. And these are popping up all over the country as the federal government takes over every facet of our society ahead of the admission that we're going into an economic collapse. And if you want to find it, you just search the terms Homeland Security orders Americans around in the parking lot. And this is, again, in Yonkers, New York, at a grocery store. For your safety, please no parking. U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And then here's another photo that Matt Ryan found of a similar sign out front of a store, just simply saying, Homeland Security, all suspicious persons and activities are immediately reported to our law enforcement agency. But it's just this message that Homeland Security, Homeland Security. The other sign actually has the Homeland Security seal on it. And they're saying the TSA, they're going to use the roads as their, quote, jurisdiction. And that was talked about in the North American Union SPP documents that we got in 2007. They tried to block the release, but Judicial Watch sued and got them. They said, we're going to use the threat of terror as a way to merge Canada, the U.S., and Mexico, and to unify the security systems. And we're going to use the highways to tax people as part of this new North American Union to fund the SPP. So they're moving forward with all of this right now, and it's a classic authoritarian takeover model. But if you talk about it, or the threat fusion centers admittedly spying on people, or the threat fusion centers illegally going to Ron Paul Campaign for Liberty meetings that Ron Paul is at, you know, in Houston and other areas. I'm going to bring this up to him Friday when he joins us in the first hour, and spying on Ron Paul and Ron Paul supporters and Bob Barr supporters. You know, the MIAC reported 2 years ago. Is now just manifesting itself publicly. And they're training us to spy on each other. Don't trust other citizens. Just trust your great and all-powerful government that cares so much about you. Now, getting into other important stacks of news. Coming up, House passes the repeal of the government health care takeover. But the problem is the Senate is set to block that. I want to get into these mafia busts reportedly going on in New York. I want to get into some police state news, D.C. expanding public surveillance camera net. Another report, Zimbabwe mulls treason charges over WikiLeaks. That's just some of what's coming up. But I want to get back into China. We're being told in our media that America is falling apart. America is going into a worse and worse economic atmosphere because we haven't accepted carbon taxes. That's like saying if you've been shot in the chest with a shotgun but are still barely alive, the reason that you're in critical condition is because you weren't shot another time with the shotgun, or that several more shotgun blasts at close range would probably help you. It's kind of like hammering nails and hitting your thumb and saying, well, the answer is just go ahead and hammer your hand full power. And it's never backed up by any facts or any research. Obviously, carbon taxes will shut our economy down even faster. And then I've got all these articles today. I'm going to dig through the stack and go over them, where there's all these statements by Democrats and NASA people and others and about, well, China's doing so good because they've put in all the environmental standards and the carbon taxes. They've put in none of it. They're the ones that refused the Copenhagen Treaty in late 2009, now over a year ago. I mean, that's all on record. It's just, there's just so much bald-faced lying going on. But I wanted to go over some of these articles. Obama, we welcome China's rise. But this is not a rise of the Chinese people who are incredibly oppressed. China holds the record for oppression. No one denies that. This is about the corrupt elite of China teaming up with the robber barons of the West to basically leverage their market control to destroy all their political and economic competitors and vertically integrate society. I mean, here's a disgusting article out of Time magazine. Why China does capitalism better than the U.S. Remember a decade ago, the Chinese dictator at the time, the president at the time, came out and said, China's communist system is the greatest expression of capitalism. And the BBC ran with the headline, and people were like, well, this makes no sense. Well, no, it's the type of capitalism the globalists are talking about, where they destroy economies by design. They put regulations on their competition, but not on themselves. It's all selectively enforced. It's not capitalism at all. It's just criminal mafia piracy. And that's what's happening in China. And they go through this gobbledygook about China responded properly to the economic crisis, but the Western world didn't. Well, China's already a wholly owned subsidiary of the central banks. It's an authoritarian system. The globalists love it. I mean, they praise it. David Rockefeller, Ted Turner, Prince Charles, the list goes on and on. They are selling authoritarianism here as the solution to all our problems when it's these authoritarians that have already hamstrung us financially so that we're beholden and under their control. I mean, it's so incredible. It's the tens and tens and tens and tens of trillions sucked out of Western coffers, then pumped into the private central banks who run our treasury departments worldwide to the G20, who said, we'll fix the economy if you give us more power. And then now things are accelerating in their decline, and their answer is, give us 100 trillion more. I've got that in my economy stack today. Here's the Washington Times. China, U.S. #1, no more. And then they just go through statements by the Communist Party and links to it's got to be more than 15 newspapers here where they're just talking about how we are a joke. And, yeah, constantly I see the headlines out of China in the official government-run papers. Well, I guess they're all government-run. They reported last month that the only independent magazine in China was ordered shut down by the government. And then it's a dirty thing in our media when anybody asks the president about their, quote, human rights problem. Like it's a problem. This is their policy. This is what they intend to do. So it goes over all of that. And you've got these disgusting mainline liberals. This is out of a French news agency. Jackie Chan, Barbara Streisand, lead Hu Jintao state dinner guest. And it goes into how they praised him and how it was a star-studded lineup of liberals. Well, look at this article. I've got one here in the stack. Dealing with what's happening with Apple. Apple and its factories in China are, in every case I've seen, are the facilities, these giant factory cities, they're private complexes run by the government, with government backing, with government police in them, where they're having massive suicides every day. They had to put nets around them because the people would climb up on the roof and jump off head first trying to kill themselves. And I've got the articles here, going to the stack I'm going to get to, where China, again, is being praised for accepting carbon taxes and environmental standards that we want.